然后今天我们很高兴在现场遇到 Jesse 就是 Keyboardio 的发明者。那其实刚刚 Jesse 有在台上说明了这个他完整4年前、5年前开始做，然后 Kickstarter 做 low quality prototype， 就是用很多乱七八糟方法做出一个键盘，一个月一个键盘，而且他是一个 Pearl hacker。I told about your speech, Pearl hacker. I love Pearl too. OK， 那现在呢，我们就抓到机会，因为刚刚那个演讲没有讲到说键盘怎么样用，所以我们抓到机会访问一下 Jesse。How do you come out this design? And in your speech, you've done so many keyboards,
right?
So many different profiles. How do you settle down with this?
Well, and so to get here, I think we did more than 25 full keyboard designs, iterated, more than 25. And so at first, the very first thing I had, it was basically a flat kinesis. So almost the same as a one-piece ergodox.
Okay.
But as we started to do research, I found that there was a whole bunch of study in Japan in the 1980s around what was called the Tron Project, where they had basically, when they were starting to figure out what a Japanese computing infrastructure should be, that included like what a keyboard should be. And so what they did, instead of just blindly taking what we had in America, as far as I can tell, what they did was that they very politely pointed and laughed because a regular keyboard is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then they studied how hands work.
Yes, that's important.
And so
it's golden ratio.
But it's like what fingers can reach, where things are, and so they built designs for keyboards based on how your fingers work and how far you can press things. So keys were in columns instead of rows. The keys for your pinky were down and out a little bit. And most importantly, they moved a lot of the work that usually goes on your thumb, on your pinkies, onto your thumbs. They put an arc of keys under your thumb because it's easier to reach and your thumbs are strong and dexterous. And so I started with that, and then we just started trying things. I built one, see how it felt. I didn't like it very much, so I built another, and I built another, and over time we got something that seemed kind of okay, and then we started letting other people try it. And then they complained, and then we made it better, and
And also, I saw the keys are actually sculpted.
The keys are sculpted, so when you're doing mass production, making something like a dactyl or Kinesis Advantage is a relatively difficult engineering challenge. Curved PCBs are not a common thing. Curved key plates similarly. And the other thing is that some of the motions that you would need to use, that you need to press to type on a kinesis are great. Pulling back is fine. Pushing down is fine. Stabbing forward is not actually a very good hand motion. But so by putting a little bit of sculpting in here, we get a bunch of the benefit of having a key well, like the dactyl or the kinesis, but we still have a flat circuit board.
Yeah.
And so it's much more manufacturable.
Easier to make, easy to use.
Yeah. I've never actually been able to type on a kinesis. I don't like key wells personally.
Okay, so the other interesting aspect, you were some kind of software engineer?
I was a programmer. I did a lot of stuff.
Okay, and somehow you jump into this hardware stuff.
Yeah.
And what was the change?
The way it happened was the startup that I had been working on failed, and I decided to take a year off to have fun. And so I thought I would spend about a month trying to make a keyboard because it seemed like people did that, and I had no idea what I was getting into. If I knew what I was getting into, I would not have started. Because I had no idea. And so it seemed like it was a thing that I could do, that anybody could do, and so I figured I'd try it. And so I wrote the first version of the firmware in one night. That was not hard. Software is my thing.
后面，我刚刚在补充，在我们后面这边还有问题的 keyboard， 还有带来最新的10种的。
And then I just the first prototypes had no circuit board. They were designed in a tool called OmniGraffle on the Mac. It's kind of like Visio.
I know that.
And laser cut.
You use that to do laser cut?
Yeah. Okay. OmniGraffle could create me PDFs, which you can laser cut.
I use Inkscape.
Yeah, now I use Inkscape.
Lots of bugs. I want to fix those bugs.
Yeah, Inkscape 1 is a little better. The betas of 1.0 are actually much nicer.
Okay.
And these days I design circuit boards in KiCad. I do most of the.
You do all the design.
I do most of the mechanical design in Fusion 360, though the factory also contributes to the mechanical design.
So one more.
Yeah.
Can we compare the hand, because hand is very important.
Yeah.
You have to know the designer's hand.
Well, but we were designing not just for me.
Yeah.
Kaya's hands are much smaller.
Yeah.
And so
I think that's a very interesting part.
And so, but one of the things about hand size on an ergonomic keyboard is pretty much everybody. So your palm is supposed to hit here, and so you're generally supposed to curl your fingers to type.
Yes.
And so the design of the Model 1 is such that it keeps your wrist up. You can't do this.
Okay.
So this is actually, this big palm rest is for, it helps you not have very bad habits.
Okay, so you won't have wrong angle.
Right. And so when you do this, most people's hands become very similar. Because
you give them an environment to keep good pose.
we try to help. You can't, I mean, all keyboards are bad for you. Ergonomic keyboards are bad for you, regular keyboards are bad for you. Keyboards are not good for human hands. But we try to be as not bad as we can. But almost everybody's hand, the pinky is a little bit shorter, like this set of...
Way shorter.
Yeah. This set of finger relationships is very similar.
Yeah.
I know one guy whose pinky is much shorter, but almost everybody, it's kind of like this. And so once you curl your fingers, the differences in people get much smaller.
Yes.
They don't go away, but they get smaller.
That's it.
But the Tron project in Japan, they always plan to make 3 keyboards, a small, a medium, and a large. They only ever make the medium.
Okay. It's not really necessary.
Well,
Maybe smaller and large.
I mean, so they designed for Japanese hand sizes, which are smaller than Western hand sizes.
That's why I'm curious.
And so, like, we tweaked a little. So ordinarily, the space between the keys is 19.05 millimeters, which is 3/4 of an inch. It came because it's 0.75 inches.
I see.
And that is a ISO standard.
Yeah.
It's an ISO standard because it was an ANSI standard.
Yes.
And it was an ANSI standard because IBM did that on their typewriter.
Yes.
Somebody just measured an IBM typewriter.
They want to modify.
Right, and so we actually made this a little smaller. Back to front, it's 18. And but side to side, it's 19 or even a little more for the pinky keys.
Even the face is different.
Yeah.
I see. So one last question.
Yeah.
How do you think about 2020? What's going on the mechanical, ergo mechanical?
There's lots of stuff going on. I mean, we're putting out the
amazing
Keyboardio Atrius.
budget, yes.
So which is, we're working with Technomancy, who designed the Atrius.
Yes.
The Atrius, based on some of my earliest blog posts. He went and created his keyboard.
Yeah.
And now we're turning it from a kit into a product.
Yeah.
And so Kickstarter sometime around February. But there's also other cool stuff going on. The X-Dactyl here is it's a cool variant of Matt Addereth's Dactyl.
Yes.
There's like lots of stuff going on in the Japanese community to make a lot of really interesting, very small batch keyboards.
Split keyboard, yeah.
So I've actually got a small split keyboard that I was supposed to have with me today, but arrived at my house 1 hour before my flight for Taiwan took off.
Okay.
Sorry, 1 hour after my flight for Taiwan took off.
So, any words you want to say to people never try this kind of ergo keyboard?
Ergo keyboards are weird. They are not for everybody. Everybody's hands are different. It does take a long time to get used to any new kind of keyboard, but it's certainly worth trying. Try new things. Don't get frustrated if something doesn't work right for you. But also, if something feels bad, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
And just because it's good for everybody else doesn't mean it's good for you.
Yes. Awesome.
能够看的这边除了物品的最新的10种 keyboard